This video is going to cover the entirety of the FL Studio interface, just the broad strokes, not anything super in specific, but we're going to cover the most important parts a little bit in detail, just so you have an idea of what everything is and where to find everything. If you have specific questions or are looking for information about a specific part of FL Studio, that will very likely be covered in future videos. I have an entire series planned out. This is just an absolute brief overview of the entire program. Getting started, what we're looking at right now is the playlist window. This entire window is where you put all your pattern clips, audio clips, and your automation clips. Up at the top, you have various different toolbars, your file, your edit, patterns, things you would expect on any other type of program. If you need to look for a specific option, it is likely up here. Moving right along to the top left, we have your playback controls, your pause, your stop, record, tempo selection, pattern if you want to play a specific pattern, or song if you want to play the entire song. You have your song scrubber right here. This will scrub to a position in the song and or pattern. You have your volume control. You have your transposition control if you want to change the pitch of your song. You have your tempo right here. You have a handful of buttons that you can customize, and you can customize this entire layout, by the way. I should mention that. You can customize this entire layout, and there's other buttons that are not even on here that you can add. This is just where most of the options live. I have my metronome up here, typing keyboard to piano keyboard. This is very useful for me. Whenever I type on my computer keyboard, it inputs the piano notes that I want it to. There is the scrolling mode, which you can either set it to just automatically scroll or do whatever. This is so whenever you play the song, scrolling follows the playhead. You have various other options here that you can get rid of if you'd like. You have the song position. This will tell you exactly where you are in your song. You have your quantization menu, so you can specify what you want to snap to, whether it's beats, bars, steps, lines, or cells, or none at all. You have the pattern selector, so if you'd like to go into a specific pattern, you can click on that. You have your 2 meters. You have your main spectrum / oscilloscope, which will display what the song looks like. And right here, this will be your volume meter, so you can see how loud the song is. Over to the right, this is much more useful, especially if you are on a lower end piece of hardware. This is your CPU usage. It will tell you how much CPU you're using. And this is important because the more CPU you are using, the sooner you will begin to hear crackling and latency in your project. So if you're trying to input a note by playing it on the piano, it's going to take longer for it to show up, and you're going to hear crackling play throughout your song if there is too much CPU going on. Further buttons are available here and in the right-click edit menu for your convenience, but this about covers everything on this top row. To your left, you have your browser. This, for me, is where all of my audio files live. If I need to look for a specific audio file, I am coming here to the browser. This is also where you can store your plugins and your plugin presets if that is a workflow that works for you. For me personally, this is mainly where I'm gathering my audio files and little else. New to FL Studio 2024, yes, we are calling it 2024 now, there is now tags that you can apply, such as plugin, VST, and VST3. I'll cover all that later. And you can search for your sounds and see how they pop up. So if I type in kick, it will show me everything that's labeled as a kick. Snare, same exact idea. And also new with FL 2024, there's FL Cloud, which we will get into later. A couple more things to cover in this video before we conclude. If I hit F6 on my computer keyboard, this will bring up the channel rack. This is where all of your instruments will live. You can do step sequencing here, or if you right click on any of these channels, you can go into the piano roll and do piano notes in the piano roll rather than the step sequencer. If you'd like to add a channel, you can click here, but this is largely just what the channel rack does. It's where all of your instruments can live, and it's how you access them. Finally, if I hit F9, this will take you to the mixer. The mixer is one of the most vital pieces of FL Studio that you'll need to learn. The mixer is where you apply effects to all your different instruments and audio clips. If you want to apply some reverb or compression to a recording you made, you would route the audio to the mixer track and then add the appropriate effects in these slots on the right. Don't worry, I will cover all of this later. This is just to show you exactly where everything is, so you have a rough idea of what to do before you get started. So to recap, what we have is the playlist window. This is where your pattern clips, your audio, and your automation clips will live throughout your entire song. If I hit F6, you have your channel rack. This is where your synthesizers will live and your plugins will live whenever you're composing. This is more for your generative plugins, so your keyboards, your synthesizers, your drum machines, things like that. If I hit F9, this takes us to the mixer. This is where your audio effects will live, your choruses, your reverbs, your compressions, things like that. Off to the left side, we have the browser. This, for me, is where my audio files live. This, for you, can be your audio files and or whatever you would like to include. I will cover how to do this stuff and lay out this browser in a future video. But for all you really need to know, everything you have will live in these packs folders. And if you expand this packs folder, you can see all of the sample packs you have. I will cover up how to set that up later. With that about wraps up the broad overview of the FL Studio interface. I made this video specifically so you can figure out where everything lives and where each tool in the toolbox is if you want to get started right now. Future videos will go much more in depth. With that, thank you for watching.